Everyone has a story. And so does everything. Antique, vintage, or curio.
Honestly, so exciting to see a doll like this from the 1800s in such incredible condition.
Like, we've had collections that have sold for, tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Technological innovations, cultural significance, personal memories. What is it that gives each of these unique items their timeless quality?
Can't find these anywhere. No.
Join us as we blow off the dust and breathe new life into the past and the curious. In this episode of The Past and the Curious, we dive into the nostalgia of old-time melodies, school days, and historic home essentials. Examine the classic design of an old school desk.
School furniture always had to be durable. This piece shows its years well, and I'm quite sure 200 years from now, that piece of oak will still be around.
Uncover the history behind a vintage kerosene stove.
Valor didn't start making these to 1902, but they did such a good job that even in the 1980s, that same company started putting gas fireplaces into homes across Canada.
Enjoy the enchanting tunes of a vintage music box.
It needs to sit on a wooden surface to give you the best sound, but the sound that it makes is unlike any instrument that I've heard before.
My name's Ellen Lundberg, and I brought in a Victorian music box. This music box was purchased by my mother-in-law's parents, probably on one of their trips home from Florida to Toronto. The music box came through my husband's family and now resides with us. That's where it'll stay.
In the intricate history of music, the music box stands as a symbol of innovation and charm. Tracing back to 18th century Switzerland, these mesmerizing devices began as simple mechanisms with pinned cylinders plucking metal teeth to create enchanting melodies. Over time, they transformed from humble origins into luxury items and beloved keepsakes. However, the music box's golden age blossomed in the mid-19th century, captivating hearts around the world. Before the era of phonographs and radios, music boxes were revolutionary, providing at-home entertainment. The ability to play multiple tunes from a single device was a marvel, enriching domestic life with a new dimension of auditory pleasure. The music box wasn't just an object, it was a testament to human ingenuity, a significant step in the journey of music and technology, cherished as a magical relic of a bygone era.
Hi, Alan. Welcome to the show today.
Thank you.
What have you brought with you today in this big box?
Well, this is a Victorian music box. It was manufactured 1894-95, and it predates any CD, record player, or tape player. Would you like to look inside?
Absolutely.
This music box is basically like any small music box, but on a very large scale. In the Victorian times, it brought music into any home that could afford one, and it works with these set of tines on a comb and a very, very large disc that has been prepared to play music.
So each of these little metal strips makes a different sound? Is that how it works?
Each is dedicated to a different pitch.
The condition of the box was amazing, considering that it was well over 100 years old. It was manufactured by the Regina Music Box Company.
And the Olympia was one of their models.
Absolutely. There's no serial number or identifying mark on it, but because it's an Olympia, we know it was manufactured in New Jersey around the 1890s. This would have been a centerpiece in a home that could afford it, so they could listen to music in their house without having to have musicians or having to go out and see musicians elsewhere. The music box was popular in the Victorian period. It would be something that could be used to entertain people when they came to visit, rather than having to get musicians to come into your home. You could just have your kids crank the music box. The first music box was invented around 1770 by a Swiss inventor. First ones were very small, about the size of a pocket watch. They only had a short time that they could play, and people wanted to hear longer versions of music, and eventually it grew into this really large box that can play for quite some time. It was very large, actually, as compared to what you would think a music box would be. And there were these little teeth that stuck down, and they would hit these little metal tines that were in a row. And every time it hit one of those, it made a musical note. And that's how it played music. You cranked a handle on the side to make the thing work. It was a clockwork mechanism inside to make it turn. Played for about 3 minutes with the most beautiful sound, and it had a little on and off switch. By the 19th century, they become these luxury items that we can see here in the craftsmanship in this piece. David Lecoutier was an inventor back in that period, and he was focused more on small versions of music boxes, which were the precursor to the music box that we see in front of us. Can you imagine what it would have been like for people to be able to entertain without having to hire a whole orchestra?
Yes, and they only had to recruit their children to keep the music box cranked.
What's really important, I think, is the mechanical part of this and the way it works so well to play so many different sounds just with rotating a disc over some pins. It paved the way for what came after, which was the gramophone. Yeah, gramophones followed this and were much more affordable, so more people had the opportunity to have them in their home. And also gramophones were much more compact compared to this.
Are there other collectors around?
I'm sure there are, and I'm sure this item is something that would be highly collectible and that people would be looking for because they're so beautiful and so rare.
And those would be collectors with large muscles to move it. It weighs about 200 pounds.
It needs to sit on a wooden surface to give you the best sound, but the sound that it makes is unlike any instrument that I've heard before. Right now we can listen to our music on our phone out of our pocket.
Yes, but does it have the same resonance?
I don't think so. Ellen, you hauled this thing in, all 200 pounds of it. I really think we need to hear it.
You betcha. Maybe before we play it, we could just show the back of the disc where you can actually see where the un-CD has been pierced. And each of the pricks here represents a note in the scale and in the music. So the person who ever produced the disc has to be very, very scientific and mathematical about preparing the discs. All right, are you ready?
Absolutely. Wow. You don't hear that sound except sometimes in a movie where they use these machines to give a Nickelodeon sound. It's amazing. It's beautiful.
Yeah, and it's all in the wood.
It's amazing that after 100 years, this music box creates a sound quality that cannot be duplicated in any other way.
We really enjoy having this in our home. It's certainly a centerpiece and a showcase for any visitors who stop by. We're happy to oblige them and spin a few tunes for them.
Based on the wonderful condition of this machine and the rarity of it, I would say that this is probably worth between $2,000 and $3,000.
Interesting, but it's coming home with us.
Ellen, thank you so much for bringing in this beautiful music box. What is your plan for it moving forward?
Well, it will continue to reside in our living room where we crank it up for guests and family. Then eventually it will probably go into one of the homes of our children.
If there hadn't been the development of the music box, then all of these other things would not have followed. And that goes back to 1770, which is really quite incredible.
By keeping the music box in our family, we'll be preserving it for generations to come, and hopefully our granddaughter will be dancing to it someday.
Stay tuned for more fascinating finds.
I believe when your boarder left this behind for your family to enjoy, he left a real treasure with you.
My name is Timothy Wainwriter. Today I brought in a desk that's been in the family for many years. I've done studies in it and I found out it's from late 1800s potentially, and well, it's still a family heirloom.
In the heart of Canada during the late 19th and early 20th centuries, a distinctive piece of furniture graced the classrooms. The one-piece desk of this era featured a unique design where the chair and desk were seamlessly integrated, a space-efficient solution for the bustling, growing Canadian classrooms. This Canadian emblem of education was crafted entirely from oak, a material chosen for its durability, essential for withstanding the daily rigors of school life. Each student who sat at one of these school desks was not only connected to the rich educational heritage of young Canadians, but also to the skilled artisans who meticulously crafted each piece.
Welcome to the show today, Tim. Can you tell us a little bit about the artifact you've brought for us?
It's a desk that we had back in the 1980s. We had a boarder live with us. He left the desk behind, and it's been in the family ever since.
Tim, I believe when your boarder left this behind for your family to enjoy, he left a real treasure with you. This desk is well constructed out of a good solid oak, beautifully grained. It shows the rigors of a long use in a school. The top is very nicely worn and patinaed. You can see where some poor bored school child carved his initials and designs into the desk at different points. I am sure his teacher wasn't too impressed with him. This desk could have been in any school in the province. It was very typical of the furniture that was provided for classrooms. One of the most important things to a school board was that they be durable because they were meant to last for years. And part of the charm in this piece is how well constructed it is. You can see the cast braces at various corners. There's a beautiful piece of arched oak under the table itself. So everything is well supported, very solid. The other feature that adds quite a bit of interest to the desk is the round ink hole in the top. Each student in the class would have had an individual ink bottle at their desk, the groove in the front of the desk for pens or pencils. The teacher at the front of the classroom would have had a larger bottle of ink. It was something that they called a master ink. And the teacher would be the one who came around as you ran out of ink. She would fill your bottle up for you. Ink was a precious commodity.
Now, I got this desk in the family in the 1980s when we were living in Brampton. Who may have sat in this desk and studied?
What I usually look for are carved initials. It was quite a common practice. Somebody bored in school, when the teacher wasn't looking, you could carve your name in that surface. And I can see a couple examples on the desk. There's actually a TK. Does anybody in the family have the initials TK? It would be very hard to discover.
I think it's an R.
An R, a TR.
Yeah, Timothy Ryder.
Oh, Timothy Ryder.
Oh, that's maybe.
It might have been you on a board evening, eh? This desk really contains a number of innovations that were a long time coming. The well for the ink bottle, the thought to have a spot where your pen or pencil wouldn't roll off the table surface, and the storage compartment underneath with additional space for extra pens is really quite innovative. Tim, one of the things I love about this desk, the drawer in the side for storage is incredible, but the additional tray for extra pens or pencils at the top, I've seen a lot of school desks through the years and there were a lot of innovations, but that one I think is ingenious. The front edge of the drawer shows a perfect line of dovetailing. Dovetailed drawer is one that's fitted together much like my fingers are here. Beautiful. That row of dovetails tells me that this desk could be as early as 1890 and certainly no later than 1920. School furniture always had to be durable. This piece shows its years well, and I'm quite sure 200 years from now, that piece of oak will still be around. There were variations on these designs and features through the years. Possibly 1880, they came in a bench model. The desk surface was on the back of the seat in front. That layout really worked well in the early one-room schoolhouses because you had a mixture of kids from grade 1 right up to grade 8. The teacher could quite conveniently place one of the little ones between two of the older kids, and you had built-in babysitters. When you're looking at it here, Tim, what does it make you think about?
Well, it's been in the family for a few years, so every house I've been at. A few memories, like some drawings I've done on it, because I've had this with me or my cousin almost every place we went. So there's a lot of memories there, too.
Good stuff. And those memories have value. I think desks like this are appreciated nowadays for the nostalgia that they bring back to people. Very useful decorators items around the home. Tim, tell me, do you think you'd ever part with this desk if the price was right?
Anything's for sale if the right price is available, right?
Well, this particular desk, I believe, could be sold in the range of $150 to possibly as much as $250 for the right buyer. Knowing that price, do you think you'd part with it?
To be honest, I have guitars worth more than this. Probably not. But it is a cool piece.
I agree. I'm pleased to hear that this will probably stay with you. I think it's got a lot of fond memories etched in its various surfaces, and I think it's staying in the right place. Thanks for coming on the show today, Tim.
Happy to be here, Tim.
I think that it's in the right place for Tim to keep this, use it in the future, and I think with the initials TR prominently carved in two places, we're always going to know who this desk really belongs to. For my generation, there's a real window to the past with this item because I spent a lot of years in a single-seater school desk.
Up next, uncover more stories etched in time.
Has some cutouts that are artistry, which of course were functional so that the heat could escape. My name is Dinah Biddle, and I'm bringing in a Valor kerosene heater. I'm interested in finding out some more information about it because I haven't seen one quite like that before. It's quite a beautiful design as well as being functional from back in the day.
In the 19th century, a transformative artifact emerged, the kerosene oil stove, a symbol of a revolutionary shift in domestic living. Before kerosene's rise, households relied on open fires, wood stoves, and oil lamps. Kerosene, however, offered a cleaner burn, producing less smoke and pollutants than coal or wood, making it ideal for indoor use. The genesis of the kerosene stove traces back to Abraham Pineo Gesner, a Nova Scotian physician and geologist. In 1846, Gesner started refining crude oil into kerosene and had perfected it by 1853, inadvertently kickstarting the modern petroleum industry. His innovation paved the way for kerosene's widespread use in lamps, heaters, and crucially, stoves. During its heyday, the kerosene stove, especially models like the Valor 525T, was revolutionary. It provided a cleaner, more controlled heat source, perfect for the growing urban population. Its ease of use and maintenance, compared to wood or coal stoves, made it an essential household item. In cities where firewood and coal were scarce, the kerosene stove was not just a convenience. It was a game changer, marking a key step in the evolution of home cooking and heating technologies.
Thanks for coming in today, Dinah. Can you tell us what you brought us?
This is a kerosene heater.
I actually found it online.
I thought, wow, this is a really interesting and attractive looking piece. It actually wasn't too far from us, just a village down the road. So I had the good fortune to go there and pick it up.
These are called kerosene stove or a lamp stove. When I look at this piece, thinking of the age, it's really in great condition. What jumped out to you about this?
The age, representative of time gone by. The function of it, it's very sturdy, very well made. When people visit, they ask about its age and where it's from. I found that it is appealing to other people as well. It also has some beautiful decorative elements to it. I found the whole look appealing, the shape, and it has some cutouts that are artistry, which of course were functional so that the heat could escape and circulate.
We have a really nice complete handle. Sometimes these are missing. We got the name of the company, we got the model number, so we can kind of date it based on that. They were made in England. That's where they originated. The company Valor here was not the original creator. This company started in the late 1800s. So based on the model of this, Valor made that in the 1940s. So these type of stoves were first invented in 1884, and they were invented in England. Now the company that made this is Valor, and Valor didn't start making these in 1902, but they did such a good job that even in the 1980s, that same company started putting gas fireplaces into homes across Canada.
Who would be using a stove like this back in the day?
Well, this type of stove was used for many different reasons. Primarily, these would have been used to heat homes, especially those large, drafty Victorian homes. So overall, it's a metal stove, but the most interesting part of this is the kerosene container itself. That's probably the most valuable piece, because if that piece is garbage, the whole thing will not work.
Scott, have you ever seen a heater like this before?
Actually, I have. They really haven't changed much, even though there's other companies over the years that have made these things. They're sort of common, but not overly common. And I had one once that was a nice peacock blue, and I sold it. And now seeing this one, I wish I had that one back. First, they were making kerosene containers, and then they moved and started making these stoves. These were very popular in the 1900s in North America, and they were used not only to heat homes, but they were a decorative piece. And a lot of these things were featured in magazines. This, to me, is probably functional. I don't know if you've ever had it working, but there's a tank in here. This one happens to be made of brass, and there is a cloth type wick that would be in there, and that would soak up the kerosene, and that can be adjusted by a little dial that's on this side. If you raise the wick, it gives off more heat and a brighter look. But these weren't all necessarily used for to heat homes and stuff like that. They were also used as decor.
Who would have made the first kerosene stove?
Before you could make the stove, you had to have the kerosene. And this is where Canada takes place. Abraham Gesner from Nova Scotia invented the kerosene oil. He developed a method to refine crude oil into kerosene. It was a relatively clean burning fuel, and it would lay the foundation for this stove we see here. So can you imagine how big of an impact this would when it first came out? No longer having to chop wood to start a fire to heat your home, but you could simply use this.
That's a really good point. It would make a significant difference for homes and families, because I wondered, let's say it was in a center part of the house at bedtime, perhaps they took it into the bedroom areas to keep the house warm because it's portable.
Absolutely.
I wonder why they used kerosene at the time.
The kerosene would have been very accessible and less work intensive compared to like burning wood. And it actually gave off a lot of heat, and it was a cleaner burn and very accessible. With so many homes popping up in the 19th, 20th century, this would be a great alternative to heat your home. And another reason kerosene was so useful is because it had a shelf life of 5 years, and 1.9 gallons would last 8 to 12 hours.
Is this something that collectors might be looking for nowadays?
I would say absolutely. And not only collectors, but people would actually put them in practical use. You can put them in a cabin or a cottage. You can use them outdoors, both aesthetically and for heat. And people could even take these ice fishing. So what space does this occupy in your life?
I enjoy it in the front entryway, a sort of a walk-in feature into the house. And I also set it outside by the front door at Christmas time. It's like a connection with the past, just a warmth and welcoming vibe for when people came into the entryway.
Now these things are great. You know, not only were they very practical and almost in some cases necessary, they have a great decor about them. And when they're lit up and they glow up a room in the middle of the night, they just look fantastic. So you are looking to sell this. Do you have any idea what it's worth?
Got a little bit of an idea, and I actually had somebody that made an offer, and they offered me $75.
Well, if I look at it right now, I think it's in pretty good condition. There are some different aging marks overall, but it's not rusted through. And I think the most important piece is going to be the kerosene container here. And that seems to be well intact. I bet you could probably start this up at any point. So that being said, I think something like this would be worth in the neighborhood of $100 to $125. So at that price, would you be willing to sell it?
Yes, I would. I would definitely look at that at some point down the road, for sure. I will definitely consider selling it because I got some good information, and for the price of selling it, I will change up the decor in the entry room and find some other nice holiday ornaments to add.
Thanks for coming in today and bringing this great piece of history.
Thank you for teaching me quite a bit more about this. They're built to last, and they can be repurposed for different things.
So next time you have a power outage or you lose your heat, think of one of these stoves.